Hey Yvonne, it's Paul. We're just going to go deeper into this question about contracts and automated CRM. You're saying that you want the actual quote details on the contract, and it is funky. And you've put here there isn't a Zoho Sign option with Zoho Books. That's correct. I imagine a way to create an e-signable document will populate with information with CRM that can do that, including products selected in the deal module, right? So obviously this is on an estimate or a quote, and we're going to talk about it, is you want it to itemize the contract. It's not going to happen because there's more than one pick. If you just had one item, you would obviously go to something like the quote. Got this one here, I believe, that has two picks. If it's just one pick, you could edit a quote. You could edit a quote that just said service type, and then when you went to send to Zoho Sign, you would pick your template, new sign, add, and on one field you would say show me the service. But you're wanting this to show those two services, right? But when I go down here to quote and product details, it's blank. And that's because there's two options and there's only one field. It's not smart enough to work it out in a list. I don't actually know if I can trying to delete it. How do I delete it? Oh, edit, right. Let me edit that line item and see if it does pick it up on one. If there's only one, will it work? So I go back to template, go back here. When it picks, if I now go back to quote and product details, see, it still doesn't pick. It's not going to pick the item. So my quick way would be, and I'll talk about the Zoho financial part in a minute because that is funky too. I would look at doing print preview, create a template however you want it to show. If it just says these are the services you'll get, and just delete the numbers and say this is the service, and not print it as a PDF, print it, and print will save it, right? And just save it, right? So it saves. I'll save it to downloads. Yeah, replace that. So I've saved the PDF of a list of services. Then I go back to I was in the right place. Then now I go back and print off the sign. Use template for the contract, but obviously in the I'm just going to pick anything here, right? I see to book, account name, country, deal, amount, quote. Where's quote amount? Account, total, won't it? Subtotal, product, discount, grand total. Right, so at this point I can go next. And on your contract you would say, please see attached sheet with product services. So now at this point I'm going to upload the services PDF that we've just saved. So you're going to have the contract that says, please see attached PDF with listed services, and then save it and send it as you would normally. That to me is the easiest way of doing this. You would have to do this even if you use Zoho Financial. So what I'm saying is edit the print template for the quote so it's called services list and more description or something. Print it off, save it as a PDF, then send this to the template, but also upload on that second button the PDF of the services. Not ideal, but it's just not going to work as planned because there's multiple items, and it won't pick it off. I mean, you might want to put in the quote or the sales order or wherever you're sending the contract from, extra fields, and just type in the services and description. they'd have to manually type in each one. Not ideal either. But what we're talking about now with Zoho Books, so they've told you you've got to use Zoho Financials. So everything, Zoho Books, everything in these apps are called Zoho Financial. When you sync Zoho Books with your Zoho CRM, Zoho Apps, Zoho CRM, what it does, it syncs accounts, it syncs vendors, and it syncs products. But it adds a tab called Zoho Financial, which is where you create invoice estimates and sales orders. It doesn't sync with the invoice, and it doesn't sync with the quote, and it doesn't sync with the sales order that's already there. You would think that these sales orders would sync with Zoho Books, right? You would think it would make sense. So you got sales orders, but I haven't got the sales order that is, test. It's just called test. So the sales order here would be called test, right? So it isn't there, because Zoho Financials adds this tab, Zoho Finance, and it creates separate sales orders that sync. Obviously there's something funky, but you would think an estimate and the quote tab would sync together, but they don't. So because you're asking further down here, so module, and he suggests CRM included. You've said somewhere, Zoho Financial. You've said something about committee again. Look, I now need to find a way to include the product services in the contract to be signed in order to track sales commission. I was told Zoho I need to generate my estimates in Zoho Financial. So this is now what they're calling Zoho Financial. Zoho Finance is this tab. So Zoho Finance. So the estimate must be generated within this tab. So now when you guys go to do a deal, so if I go to a deal, say this golf club one, it says here, quote, add quote. But what you're actually going to be doing is going to Zoho Finance and adding an estimate down here. Creating an estimate, right? But you would still need to, if I call it whatever, expires, price list, none, service 1, add another line, service number 1, and save it all. VAT treatment not configured, VAT. Right? I would still need, this would not sync with Zoho Sign either. It would just give me an estimate within Zoho Books, and that's probably where you're going to convert it to an invoice or a sales order to an invoice and track the commission payment. So if you're using Zoho Books to take your money, you're going to be wanting to, once the money's paid or once it's signed off, is to track the commission through Zoho Books. But it will not sync with Zoho Sign, this bit. You would still have to save this. You would still have to send and save as a PDF. You'd have to print it off as a PDF and still go back to the estimate. See, look, the estimate doesn't have, so this is where you're going to convert it to an invoice, but there's no option to send it to Zoho Sign. So for me, it depends how you want to do it, but if I had sales team, I wouldn't want them to be confused by the CRM is already set up. If they're already using it, their quotes and deals are already in the CRM. So I would go to the CRM, go to your quote, pick out that quote, print, preview, change the template, and then save that PDF as the list of services that are about to be signed off on. On your contract, you agree to the contract. So it's not ideal. It's a funky way of doing it. I don't know why they don't sync quote, estimates, quotes, and invoices in the tab that's already there, rather than using a completely separate tab where invoices and purchase orders live. So scatty, I know, but if I was you, I would be leaving the guys in deals. Leaving them in here because the buttons make more sense. The quote's always going to be there unless you delete that module, and you have to delete modules. But if they're already using it, can you convert quotes to estimates in Zoho Financial? I don't know. It sounds very complicated. If for the print template for the quote or whatever you're going to use, you just go here, right? So if you went print preview, it says which template do you want to use, right? So you can go to setup, modules, and go to templates, go to inventory, and then you'll see quotes template sign off. So if you want to do quote, you just duplicate it. Did I click duplicate then? I'm pretty sure I didn't I? Duplicate. Change it to list of services, and then you just start deleting stuff that you don't want it to show, right? I don't want this. I delete all that. I delete ship to. I delete, if you don't want it, just get rid of it. Then change this to services list. Save it. Public template. If you want to keep it private, you can change it. List of service, right? So now when I go back to my potentials, back to my testing, print preview, default print. I didn't do it there, did I? I want to go quote, don't I? Quote. Then I go to print preview. Mail merged. Why is it doing this? Quote. Oh, did I click on quote? Am I in the right place now? Print preview. Quote template. Yeah, here we go now. List of service. So we get the template that you want them to see. That you then save as a PDF. Go to the DocuSign, send for sign, and add the PDF. Because it's multiple items, you're just not going to get it to populate in the current way it's doing it. I wonder if there's a better way of doing it with Zoho reports actually, and not using DocuSign. Zoho report, save it. Let me look into Zoho report and then sending that to DocuSign. No, but it'd still be CRM would be an issue. So yeah, it's not ideal. I've sort of prattled about looking at this for a while, and I don't know why Zoho don't allow first and foremost the sync, but secondly the multiple choice pick isn't going to work in the way it's working at the minute, right? So this is not the answer. I just want you to let you know I'm working on it. I'll try and get you a better option here, because it annoys me that it's that hard, and it doesn't need to be hard for your guys, otherwise they won't use it right. Or it'll create a double data entry pain for you that'll just become a grind.